Dear learner, I Professor Shachi Shah from School of Interdisciplinary and Transdisciplinary Studies, IGNOU, welcome you all in today's session on Environmental Management System Standards. In this session, we will be discussing number 1, Environmental Management System, its core elements, Environmental Management System assessments and benefits and limitation of Environmental Management System along with standards. In the previous session, we have discussed about environmental management, which can also be defined as the management of the interaction and impact of human activity on the natural environment. All the organization, whether it is a company, whether it's a big or small institution, industries, they have some impact on environment. So, environmental management system, which is also known as EMS, it is similar to other management system. The system which like those who manage the quality or who manage the safety. The purpose of environmental management system is to assess an organization business, strength and weakness. It helps them to make out and manage significant environmental impact. In addition to this also help in save money and resources by increasing environmental efficiency, energy efficiency. It ensures compliance with environmental laws and provide targets for improvement. If I go by the definition of United States Environmental Protection Agency, US EPA in 2017, it defined environmental management system is as a set of processes and practices that facilitate an organization to reduce an environmental impact and increase its operating efficiency. So, we can say that it is a framework. It helps a company or an organization to achieve its environmental objective through regular view, evaluation and improvement of its environmental performance. So, environmental management system is a structured management approach. It is designed to meet an organization's environmental goal. It encompasses various type of policy, various processes, various operational controls, management plans. Basically, they aim to minimize negative impact on environment. If you see a successful environmental management system, it ensures compliances with environmental laws and regulation. It minimizes environmental impact at all levels of the environment organization. In other words, the environmental management system refers to the management of an organization environmental program in a comprehensive, systematic, planned and documented manners. The International Organization for Standardization, that is known as ISO, it has defined environmental management system as the part of the overall management system that include organizational structure, planning, activities, responsibilities, practices, procedures, process and resources for developing, implementing, achieving, reviewing and maintaining the environmental policy. This definition was given by ISO in 1996. So, it provides a systematic way to ensure environmental issues are managed consistently and systematically throughout an organization. If effectively applied, the environmental management system can help integrate environmental consideration with overall operation. It sets out environmental policies, objectives and targets with predetermined indicators that provide measurable goals and a means of determining if the performance level has reached or not. So, by getting environmental management certification, the organization can show to its customer about the commitment in meeting environmental responsibility. So, environmental management system does not dictate to achieve a particular level of environmental performance. Rather, each organization's environmental management system is tailored or customized to its own individual objectives and targets. If we see ideally an environmental management system, it supports resource sustainability, environmental protection, biodiversity conservation and also ecologically sustainable development. I will use a term that is known as Plan, Do, Check, Act. So, if a properly EMS is designed in a proper manner, it should follow the Plan, Do, Check, Act. You will be wondering, what is this Plan, Do and Check Act? It is a cycle which is based on the principle of continuous improvement. It involves planning, implementation, checking and reviewing. When we say planning, the planning involves identifying environmental aspects and establishing aims. The second thing is implementation, which is also known as doable things. It includes training and operational control. The third is checking, that is, this incorporates monitoring and corrective measures, and then reviewing, that is known as act. It includes regular progress review and action to incorporate required changes in the EMS. So, plan, do, check, act means planning, implementing, checking and reviewing. Now, I will discuss the core elements of environmental management system. So, there is no single approach which can be considered the best for the development and implementation of environmental management system, because it depends on the nature, extent, type of activities, product and services of the company, which vary from company to company. But if we see the core element or principal element of the environmental management system, the first and foremost thing is environmental policy. Environmental policy, if you see, it is a guiding principle of an environmental management system. If I say in simple words, it is a statement of an organization commitment to improve its environmental performance. In other words, an environmental policy is a written statement. It outlines organization's mission in relation to managing the environmental impact of its operation. So, an environmental policy is the driving force. It is a driving force behind the objective, target and management program of a company's EMS. If we talk about the designing or rules to design a policy document, there is no perfect way. As I told you, it depends upon the type, need, process of the company, what is the requirement of the company, but the key element should be that its commitment to continual improvement of organization environmental performance. It also outlined the legislation organization for the compliance and plan of actions. It also meets the expectation of the employees within the policy and implementation of the policy, its management and review. So, in few words I can say that environmental management system policy, it should state the organization aim and objective, it should endorse and be actively supported by its management, it should be accepted by staff, it should allow management to communicate its aim and objective to employee and other interested party, whether they are stakeholders, customers, shareholders, suppliers, or it should be a part of the business strategy. If we see that organization, they intend to implement a formal environmental management system, they include ISO 14001 and Eco Management and Audit Scheme EMAS, and for this environmental policy is mandatory document which provide a cornerstone in systems development and implementation. The second component is, or the second core element is planning. So, if we say EMS planning, it includes the development of a plan that fulfill environmental policy. It also identify environmental aspects and impacts. It aims to identify regulator and other requirements, whether they include legal requirement of a particular state or country. It develop the objective and targets, environmental programs, identify environmental aspects of a company and different activities, services and product. If we talk about the activities or whether services or products, it include in the identification of environmental aspects, and these activities may be or impact may be related to air emission, it may be limited to waste and wastewater release, release of water to water, various type of land degradation activities, the use of natural resources, raw material, use of energy, energy emitted in the form of heat, or radiation or byproduct or other type of physical aspects. If we wanted to achieve a specific level of environmental performance, a company should establish objective and targets. These objectives and targets, they should be both they should be short term also and long term also. These objective and targets should be clear, they should be quantifiable, and they should be consistent with the environmental policy of an organization. So, when we talk about environmental objectives, they are the overall aim that a company will improve itself through EMS. If you say, if I give you an example, for example, if a company wanted to reduce the electricity consumption by 25% over the next 5 years, so they have to have a environmental target and objective. They should have short term goal. The long term goal is reduction in energy consumption by 25%. So, they should have short term and long term goal related to this environmental objective. Like short term goal may be reduction in 10% in first year and then remaining 25% in the last year or so. So, they should have some goal. When we talk about the implementation and operation of environmental management system, for implementing the EMS, an organization needs certain requirement. It should have a framework of the activity and assign responsibility to the organizations, whether they are member of the organization, whether they are employee, administration and top level management. The organization should arrange proper training. It should create awareness and competence among the people who are enrolled. There should be a proper communication between each level of participants, whether it is internal communication, whether it is external communication. The internal communication, it can be established among the different level and different functionaries within the organization, and when we talk about external communication, it can be established with external related and interested organization. Then there should be a documentation in each and every point, whether it is from responsibility to challenges observed to control mechanism and everything to achieve EMS. So, this document it required as so that EMS can be controlled, which means that the document and record must be approved, they must be reviewed, they must be updated and that they be legible. Then there is operational control, where various processes related to environmental objective and policies must be performed. They are under specific circumstances, there are different operating criteria, there should be a proper maintained procedure. The company should also be prepared, there should be emergency preparedness and the responses should be done. Implemented and maintained, it should be done by the company in order to avoid any emergency situation or accidents. So, emergency plan which is consist a clear and visible labeling of exit evacuation route, fire extinguisher, fire or gas leakage alarm, contact detail of medical aid, cleanup services, fire department, etc. should be done and maintained at proper place in the organization. And there should be an integration of environmental concern. When we talk about the integration of environmental concern, the environmental management, if we integrate into regular operation, it means the preparation of course of action for incorporating environmental measures into other operation aspects. There are many aspects. For example, there may be purchasing, there may be research and development, there may be product development, there may be execution, marketing, finance, protection of worker, so on and so forth. So, in this case, the company and the health and safety of the community welfare and local government should be very important and given priority. In this, the checking is done to know the organization progress to achieve environmental goals of EMS. The checking can be done through monitoring, to assessment, by keeping records, auditing, correcting and preventing actions that is taken by organization, monitoring and measurements, various type of measurement of environmental program, what is the root cause of various type of environmental problem, what correcting action is required, how to improve the performance, how to increase the energy efficiency of the company. All these are required to be made a checklist of all these activity. So, in this regard, one must maintain a procedure to track key characteristic of these operation. One must track performance and conformance with environmental goals. One must calibrate and maintain any monitoring tools and equipment, and one should formally review compliance with applicable rules and regulation and other requirement. When we talk about management review, any change of raw material, process, product or service and their potential environmental impact should be reviewed properly. So, management involvement is important to the success of an environmental management system. When we talk about management review, it covers the environmental performance, progress in achieving objective and targets. It talks about the compliance with legislation. It talks about results of internal audits and report. It talks about or it covers the status on action required in connection with non-compliance. It covers the new process and any change to no environmental status and many other things, including effectiveness of training, need of revision, follow-up action and recommendation for improvement. So, the management review process can take a period of time with different elements being reviewed independently. So, this reviewer, they should include audit outcome, evaluation of reaching objective and targets. When we talk about the prerequisite factor for EMS, the three components mainly are necessary to start an EMS. These are raise awareness of management. The second is EMS team appointment. So, management commitment is very important, very crucial for successful EMS. So, it should come for the management, it should be well informed about the cost. There should be an appointment of EMS team which reflects management support and commitment to provide resource. So, member of EMS team may be of different, they may have different expertise, they may have expertise in different field. For example, risk management, manufacturing, human resource, engineering, finance, quality control, etc. And the third one is create an environmental policy, as we are talking about that the environmental policy is essential for any EMS facility. The policy should be simple so that all employee can understand, but at the same time it should be inclusive also so that it covers all the component of proper component of environmental management system. The policy should have a statement, for example, the statement may say that we will prevent pollution at the source, or we can say we will train our employee to be environmentally responsible at work and home, or we pledge to reduce our use of toxic substance and so on and so forth. So, there may be a tagline. Now, I will discuss the benefits and limitation of environmental management system. Talking about the benefits, first I will talk about the benefits. The environmental management system, it ensures that an organization knows its environmental risk and manage them in a systematic manner. So, benefits are better, number one I will say better regulatory compliance. So, by running implementing an EMS, it will help to ensure the environmental legal responsibilities are met and they are managed easily on day-to-day basis. The second benefit is more effective use of resources. So, by EMS policies and procedure, it helps an organization to more effectively manage the resources, waste, it reduce the cost, it save the organization money, it reduce the labor cost and so on and so forth. The third is marketing. Running an EMS will prove company's business credential as an environmentally aware operation that shows that a company is committed toward environmental improvement. The fourth is finance. It becomes easier to raise investment from bank and other funding agency when a company has a environmental management system. So, EMS can reduce the cost for energy, it can reduce the cost of fuel, water, raw material, wastewater treatment and waste disposal. Then there is increased sale and trade opportunity. So, many branded companies or business or government department, they deal only with those companies which have an EMS. So, having an EMS, definitely it will increase the sales or trade opportunities. There are eco-labeling of recycling which are having ISO 14000 tag and self-declaration by the company. These are some of the means by which customers knows company's commitment for the environment. Then there are lighter regulation. Even EMS is not a regulatory requirement, but if a company is showing commitment through environmental management system, it is benefited by the reduced fee from environmental regulator. Pollution prevention, of course, it improves the environmental performance, resource conservation, there is a reduction in risk and liability control, etc. It also changes in environmental attitude and awareness. If we say internal communication on environmental performance and the employees are training, it has positive effect on employees' motivation and it builds the organization reputation as a good employer, positive impact on human resource management and quality. The other benefit we can say that it enhances employee morale, its image with public, policy maker, lenders, investor. It also managed to strong message to important external stakeholder like local authorities, regulator, local community that a company is having a good practices and it is having a good corporate citizen. So, in nutshell we can say that the environmental management system, it improves the reliability and credibility of an organization by having environmental policy. Like there are many benefits, same way there are certain limitation also of the environmental management system. The limitation, I can say that it's a tool that works when organization puts time and efforts into its implementation. It required time also, it required efforts also. So, simply if we establish an EMS, it does not guarantee better performance. Further, I can say that having an ISO 14001 certificate, it does not prove that a company is environmental performance is good. It also required continuous input, times and efforts. There are certification body. Now, there is it's not a legal requirement to get an EMS independently certified, but it can be good and advantageous for an organization if the company get an EMS certification. There are externally certificate EMS, it reflects seriousness of a company towards environmental performance. And it, as I have told, there are many benefits. It can be a powerful marketing tool, it can be a powerful sales tool. There are number of, in this context, there are number of environmental standards which a company get EMS certification. The first is ISO 14001. So, ISO 14001 is the internationally recognized standard for EMS. Having ISO 14001, it can provide suppliers and customers with high profile and respected assurance that they are managing their environmental responsibility. As per National Accreditation Board for Certification Bodies NABCB in 2017, New Delhi, there is 8 certification bodies that allow to issue certificate, whether it is for ISO 14001 2004 and ISO 14001 2015 in India. There are about 175 Indian companies that are located in major cities which provide consultancy to achieve various aspects of environmental management, especially ISO 14001. The second is EMAS. EMS is a voluntary European scheme that provides external recognition for those business that prove they go further than just meeting regulatory requirement for environmental issues. To gain EMAS verification, a company must be able to prove that he has identified and is working with all relevant legislation and have system in place on ongoing basis. So, the company needs to prove that his system meets the ISO 14001 standard, and it is possible to gain and maintain both ISO 14001 certification and EMAS verification at the same time. Then there is BS 8555. As the name indicates, BS 8555 is a British standard. It provides direction for implementation and EMS on a phase by phase basis, and it can be good approach of working toward either ISO 14001 or the Eco Management Adult Audit Scheme EMAS, or there can be independent recognition for this effort to follow BS 8555 by using ACON Green Tick and Serene accredited scheme of United Kingdom Accreditation Service. Then when we talk about the assessment of EMS, the EMS focus on about the action need to meet any organization or any company to meet its environmental goal, and about the tools, whether it is related to training, procedure and resources. There is monitoring, it required the monitoring and assessment, it required non-conformation and corrective and preventive action, it required maintenance of the record, it required audit, and if we talk about EMS audit, it is to assess about system functioning, to keep people informed, to collect information and to correct non-conformities. So, information is regarding this is provided in the environmental performance to the decision maker, and the improvement of EMS can be it is about management, operation, process design, product design and service improvements are required. Now, talking about EMS standard, that is ISO 14000 series. ISO is the International Organization for Standardization. It is established in Geneva, Switzerland in 1946. It aims to promote international trade by harmonizing standards. The need for international environmental management standard was first assessed by the Strategic Advisory Group on the Environment, that is known as SAGE. Strategic Advisory Group on the Environment. It is a committee which was established by ISO in 1991. This committee recommended development of a standard, and in January 1993, ISO created technical committee, that is 2007, TC 2007, to develop the ISO 14000 series of 20 standard. So, TC 2007 is composed of various subcommittees and working group having representative from the ISO member countries who contribute their input to TC 207 through national delegate. In 1992, the British Standard Institute published BS 7750, which was the first national standard for environmental management system. So, the British Standard Institute, they have previously published BS 5750, which is a national quality management system standard and which has a significant contribution to development of ISO 9000. So, this ISO 14001 is largely based on BS 7750, but however, it is not as stringent as BS 7750. So, ISO has developed a series of environmental standards. ISO 14000 that prescribe the necessary element for EMS. So, ISO has set up an international voluntary consensus standard for manufacturing, communication, trade and management system. I am not going to discuss this in detail. The ISO 14000 will be discussed in detail in upcoming session, but the organization or any company they adopt the standard, it makes a clear management commitment to a environmental policy. The company will form a plan to carry out the policy. The company will identify activities that significantly impact the environment, and it will train the employee in environmental practice. So, to conclude this session, in this session we have discussed about the environmental management system, its core elements, its prerequisite factors, how to document, how to assess, and the benefits and limitation of environmental management system. We have also discussed about the EMS company and various type of EMS standard along with occupational health and safety standard, how to reduce waste and receive recognition in their respective field. Thank you.